welcome to Sunday School and welcome to a new year. Happy 2021, everyone. I hope you all had a great Christmas and a wonderful winter break with your families. So, Pastor Carol is starting a new sermon series called The Gift of Love. So, this week I want to talk to you about one of the Bible verses that she's talked about, and it comes from Matthew chapter 22, verse 39. When Jesus is asked, what is the most important commandment that we need to follow? Jesus says, love your neighbor as yourself. So, do you think that means you have to love just your neighbors on your block or your neighbors in your area? I think that God and Jesus meant that you need to love everyone on this earth. We are all neighbors put together on this earth together, and you need to love all others as much as you would love yourself and take care of each other. There are two people I want to talk to you about who really showed good examples of how to love your neighbors. The first person I want to talk to you about is named Fred Rogers, or Mr. Rogers, which, if you were in Vacation Bible School, we talked about him. Mr. Rogers had a show on TV in the 60s and 70s, and he would talk about and teach all of the children to realize that they are special exactly how we are. No matter what your difference is, you are important, you are special, and you deserve to be loved. It kind of sounds like some of the messages we've gotten from God and from Jesus' teachings, doesn't it? So he shared and showed everyone how to love your neighbor in many different ways. In 1969, there was a rule where black and white people could not swim in the same swimming pool. Isn't that weird? Can you imagine that? So instead of being just angry, he showed love in an episode where he invited Officer Clemmons, one of his regular people that would come onto the show. He invited Officer Clemmons, who was an African-American man, to put his feet in the pool with him and share his water and share his towel. And that was his way of saying that it's okay to love your neighbor and to share a swimming pool with your neighbor. One of the quotes that I really loved from him was, he said, to love someone is to strive to accept the person exactly the way he or she is right here and right now. The other person I want to talk about is Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. I'm sure that all of you have heard things about him, and he was a great example of someone who showed us to love our neighbor as ourselves. He was a civil rights leader in the 50s and 60s and fought for equal treatment of black and brown people. He was a minister, so he spoke like Pastor Carol and Pastor Molly and spoke in front of large congregations and large groups of people. So some of my favorite quotes from Dr. King are, darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that. So I think what he's saying is, if someone isn't necessarily really nice to you all the time, it's more important to be kind to them and to be nice to them, because maybe that will draw out and force out the anger inside of them, and they'll become nice instead of trying to fight with that person, because all that does is make two people angry. And the other one is, Dr. King said, I have decided to stick with love. Hate is too great a burden to bear. So when you hate or have bad feelings in your heart, it doesn't only affect the people around you, it also affects you, and it hurts you inside. So if you stick with love, it makes everyone feel so much better. So these are two people that I think are so important and have taught so many great lessons. I would encourage you to go and read some books about them, to maybe try to see a movie about either Mr. Rogers or Dr. King. And then tomorrow we are going to celebrate Dr. King's birthday with a day of service. And I'll talk to you after our song.
Be kind to each other. Jesus told us to love him and to love everyone. Jesus told us to love him and to love everyone. So let your light shine and love one another and be kind. Be kind to each other. Love one another and be kind. Be kind to each other. Jesus told us to love him and to love everyone. Jesus told us to love him and to love everyone. So let your light shine. You can say hello and shake a hand. Share your toys and help out a friend. All with a great big smile and 2 thumbs up. When there's a job to do, you can get it all done. Just remember to love one another and be kind to your sister and your brother. Love one another and be kind to your mother and your father. Love one another and be kind to your friends and your neighbor. Love one another and be kind. Be kind to each other. Love.
I hope you liked that as much as I did. So tomorrow will be the day that we celebrate Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday. And what we are called to do is a day of service. So that means go out into your communities and do something good to make the world a better place, especially these days. Sometimes a lot of adults are very upset and very angry about things going on in the world, and we need to remember what God teaches us and to choose love and to let's bring the light and the kindness into the world. So I had some ideas of things that you can do. I want you to remember to be safe, and I want you to wear your mask and wear your gloves when you do these things, but go out and do something good for people. You could do something for essential workers, like the hospital or the police or the fire, maybe bring them a treat or something. You could donate food, maybe from your house, or go out and shop for it and donate to a food bank. Go through your closets and your old toy boxes and find some clothes or toys that you don't use anymore that you could donate to others so that somebody else could use them. You could go out and clean your neighborhood or the forest preserve of trash. Make sure you wear your gloves for that. You could save your allowance and you could find different charities that you could donate it to. You could write notes to your family members or seniors or your neighbors. You could send just happy emails and texts to people and just tell them, I love you, have a great day. You could make toys or blankets for an animal shelter. There's so many things that you can do. I want you to go out and do something great to make the world better. And please send me pictures of it so that I can include it in the next week's lessons. Have a great week. I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.